direction. From your perspective, what do you think this new generation, the younger generation, is hoping to see and hoping to change in the future? And would love to get all three perspectives, and then we'll open up to Q&A from the audience. Ambassador, can we start with you, please?
I see an Africa that is very vibrant, with its youth who are ready to engage and who are beginning to understand. When you start looking and following social media, the African youth are beginning to understand the real issues, not superficially. They understand where the real issues are. Now they know clearly that singularly, France is the biggest risk to peace and security and economic development in Africa. Let me put things in perspective for you. If you look at all the countries in the world that are having instability issues, the conflict areas, majority are in Africa. 40% of them are in Africa. 19 countries to be exact. And then when you zoom into Africa and say, of the 19 countries, who are they? 17 of them are former French colonies. So all the conflict zones in Africa are happening in the former French colonies. Now, the latest, we have data that shows that during the day, France is supporting the government, and at night, they're supporting the terrorists or the rebels, all intended to keep us in conflict. As long as we're in conflict, they're getting away with what they want. And so our African youth are beginning to understand that. So there have been demonstrations in French embassies. Messages are going to say, France, your stronghold on Africa, you cannot, it's not sustainable anymore. So the youth are engaging in the proper conversations, and they are taking their fights to the right front. We need to support them, because before they weren't quite understanding what was happening. They were fighting the war, but at the wrong front. Yes, we have leadership issues, but I have to look at it and say, we look at it from a global point of view. Just removing a leader alone without addressing the environment, you can't accomplish anything. So yes, we need to deal with leadership issues, but we also deal with the other peripheral issues, which are really in reality the root cause of why Africa is where Africa is today. But in spite of all that, you are seeing so many innovations coming out of Africa. You have young youth with one young youth in Nigeria, I think he invented a helicopter, and he's looking at having Uber, a helicopter Uber. I don't know when that's going to be implemented, but it was just so creative, trying to deal with the congestion traffic issues in Lagos. We have young youth, they are developing mobile apps, they are involved in artificial intelligence. By 2030, over 50% of Africa is going to be online. Like Bruce said, in 2019, 6 of the fastest growing economies were in Africa. I see an Africa that is vibrant. There's so much, of course, Africans have invented electric cars. It's a fascinating time to think that these young people can be so inventive with very little.
Yes.
Can you imagine if they had everything they needed to really bring out the best that they can? Yes. So yes, we have an amazing continent, and in spite of the limitations, the African youth are really charging the way forward. That's why some of us elders, we feel more energized when we see them doing the best they can under very difficult circumstances. We have got to step back and say, you know what, babe, I got your back. I got your back. With your energy and your intelligence and a little bit of wisdom that we have, together, we can do this. And those who set out to exploit us, together, we can defeat them. And I can tell you one thing, we will defeat them. We will defeat them. Contrary to what they think, we will defeat them. By the way, Senator, I'm from Zimbabwe. Some say you're Mugabe.
Zimbabwe, okay.
There's no two ways about it. Their days are numbered and they need to know it. Their days are numbered. The sooner they come to the table and begin to treat Africa fairly, the better off the colonizers are going to be. Now, colonizers have not left. We have only ignored the colonizers. Like one ambassador told me one time, he said, Ambassador, here's how he looks at the Chinese and the colonizers. You see, growing up in our village, there are animals that always live around the village. So he said the Chinese are like the hyena. The hyena will come in will eat some of the crops, but the hyena will always leave some of the crops because the hyena knows there are other people who gotta eat too. Those are the Chinese. They'll bring 50 billion, they take out 30 billion. The colonizers, on the other hand, they storm into the village, they're like a lion. They eat everything, they take what they can. What they cannot, they destroy. That's the difference. But the bottom line is, we got two thieves in our village. We have an old thief and a new thief. What platform is the old thief standing on to warn us about the new thief? You're afraid of the competition? You're afraid of the new kid on the block? They are both thieves. We must understand them for who they are, except the old thief is so deep-rooted. His roots are so deep. Try getting France out of Africa. It's mission impossible. We can get China out of Africa. Mission impossible getting France out of Africa. So let's understand our issues for what they are. We have two thieves, a new thief and an old thief, and they both must get out of our village.
Thank you, Ambassador, for that. Senator, your thoughts on the youth and the future and what their hope is and what their thoughts are.
Well, let me say, Ms. Zimbabwe, I'm in love with you already. So let me say this. We have 1.3 billion people, right? You have to understand Africa. And she talks about France all the time. You know, it's so funny. When she was talking, I was thinking, the entire French national team that won the World Cup were all Africans. There's not a single white guy on the French national team, okay? And you have to understand Africa in the context, let them put it in the context of sports so you can understand opportunity. Take Akeem Olajuwon. He's rated one of the 50 greatest basketball players in the world, right? He was a soccer player in Nigeria. They brought him to America, and he was interviewed on TV one day. And he said, now you're in America. Tell me the greatest event or what happened in America that makes you love America so much. And he could barely speak English with an American accent. Then he said, when I was in Lagos, my shoes were size 13. In America, I can now wear size 17 shoes. Imagine what he went through, size 13 to size 17, okay, for shoes. Let me give you another example so you understand the potential of Africa. There's a guy called Dick Tiger. Dick Tiger was the first man to be middleweight and light heavyweight champion of the world in 66 and 67. What happened was the British Empire champion was traveling across Africa. He went to the Gold Coast, which is now Ghana. He went to Freetown, now Sierra Leone. He said, I will pay you 3 guineas. 3 guineas then, before independence, was 3 pounds and 3 shillings. If you can last 3 rounds with me, I will give you 3 guineas. So he went to Sierra Leone, knocked out everybody, went to Ghana, knocked out everybody, came to Lagos. He said, now, can anybody jump in the ring with me? I will give you 3 guineas. The skinny little kid got in the ring and knocked out the British world champion. He then turned out to be the first black man to be middleweight and light heavyweight champion of the world. The point I'm making is this. We're a diamond in the rough, but we don't have the same opportunity as you. If Nigeria had 10% of the opportunity as a British or a Chinese or an American, we would win every single gold medal, without a doubt. There's no doubt about it. So sometimes I begin to wonder, do the rest of the world want to leave us in abject poverty, or do they want to give us a helping hand? Now, listening to the ambassador, it makes sense for them not to give us a helping hand. So if an African does well, he goes to Europe, he becomes German or French or British. If he comes to America, he becomes an American. So you call it brain drain for us and brain gain for you. Yeah. So yes, you take the most brilliant Africans and you turn them into your citizens, and you brainwash them. They become your citizens, then they don't go back home, and that's what needs to stop. Now, the question is, this is the ambassador: is the American going to stop it? Is the British government going to stop it? Is the German government going to stop it? Or are we going to stop it? But how can we stop it if they don't have the opportunity? They have a right to become. Look, 70% of all black doctors in America are Nigerians. We have Nigerians all over the world doing very well. Your opportunities are greater in your country, but not as great in Africa. I was in Zimbabwe in '86 with Jesse Jackson. And let me tell you, first time I went to Zimbabwe, when I went to Harare, I thought I was in London. I swear to God, it was so beautiful. I haven't been there since. It was amazing. The same way I felt when I went to Cote d'Ivoire, when I went to Dakar, I went to Johannesburg. We have everything in Africa, but something is missing. The question is, are we going to help ourselves, and can we fix the problems ourselves? Do we need the West to help us? The question is, will they help us, or are we going to have this conversation with when we're all dead and our kids and our grandkids are going to take over? I don't know. I don't have the answer to the question. I guess we can all ask the questions. I don't have the answer. Do we fight? But one thing I do know, Africa population is growing very fast. We need to slow it down. We're growing too fast. We're growing too fast. There are not enough resources to feed the kids we're producing. I think 1.3 billion people in Africa, we're growing too fast. Now, you may disagree with the China policy of one child per family, but I don't think the numbers is what makes you a great economy. Israel don't have the numbers, but they're great. When I was university in America, my professor said to me, he said, are the Jews the chosen people? And we had a debate in the classroom, Iowa State University. Some people said yes, some people said no. Then the professor said, well, the average Jewish family has 1.7 kids, and the minimum education for a Jewish family is a master's degree. So they have greater education, more resources towards the kids, and they become more successful. Now, we having 10 kids per family, 20 kids per family, I don't know if that's a good idea, but whether you're a Muslim or a Christian, religion then takes. So, poor people are usually very, very religious. Rich people don't go to church and don't go to the mosque. But poor people do that. I want what's best for Africa. I will do whatever it takes to help my country and to help other African countries. It's tough for all of us, but I'm only hoping that the multinational corporations, Western governments, the Chinese government, those countries exploiting Africa today will say, hey, they've had enough, they've made enough money, let them give us a helping hand.
Thank you, Senator. Mr. Harris, your thoughts on the youth of Africa and the future?
It's a blessing and a burden to go third when the ambassador and the senator are my co-panelists here. They both made excellent points.